said, we got a lot of work left. The opening bridge isn't the end game. It's a start to the end, though. So there's a lot of work, particularly on the roadway portion now. So we have to now align the new lanes with the two bridges. A lot of work on the east end that will happen right now, reestablishing the collector distributor lanes, and a lot of work down there, as well as we're actually not replacing the old existing interstate lanes, but we're rehabilitating them. So we're gonna mill the old surface off and provide a new riding surface on all the old lanes through the corridor too. So that's going to be happening. We have a lot of noise wall. If you drive the corridor, you'll see it's starting to go up. About half of it's done. A total of 8 miles of noise wall for the adjacent residents and citizens through the corridor. So that's now happening with the bridge opening, able to finish those facilities as well. So through the rest of the year and into the early part of next year, we finishing up key construction aspects, and then starting to get into the testing of the toll, the express lanes. And getting those activated in the early part of 2023.
Great, sounds good. If people want to get information about what's going on, how can they do that?
Well, I would start with the website, project website, 64highrise.org. Great place to get updates on traffic, progress. We have web cameras up there that you can look at almost real-time photos of the project if you're curious, want to see how it's going along.
12 years ago, the Cornland School Foundation worked with the Sheriff's Department in order to find the Cornland School and to get it fixed up, to get it preserved, but they didn't have a home for it. So about 2 years ago, we started working together. We located some property off Glencoe Road in Chesapeake, and about 12 acres of which at that point in time was just farmland. So we worked with the Cornland School Foundation, and then in August of 2021, we had the facility moved, and we were able to keep it on the National Historic Registry to its new location on Glencoe Street, which is right across the street from the superintendent's house, which the Army Corps of Engineers is working with us on deeding that property over to us, as well as right beside the Wallace House, which is on the National Historic Registry too. So this story of the village will be more than just education and the Cornland School, even though that's our centerpiece, but it also will tell about trade and commerce, about the maroon communities, the Underground Railroad, and also we'll have outdoor classroom in order to be able to tell a lot of the stories, interpret a lot of the stories, and to make sure we have a big educational component as far as the whole village, and all surrounded by beautiful landscaping and nice connectivity to the Dismal Swamp Canal Trail.
This information is not in our children's history books, and so they get to see almost firsthand what it was like, and to talk with students who went to this school that was built in 1903. When we first found it, it was grown up with weeds and trees and bushes all over, and rotting seals and termites driven. So the foundation did that initial sort of renovation to stabilize it. And the Sheriff's Department helped us get the grass cut and the weeds that were growing inside the building, some of them, get that done so it could be moved. Fortunately, we located 22 people who lived in Chesapeake in 2010 that were still living and went to that school. It's all for history.
It is a school that represents the experience of African American during segregation. I've always believed the more input you have, the most likely you ought to come out with a better product. And we think this story is Chesapeake's story.
Okay, well tonight I'm here with our design team and our exhibit designer and our landscape planner, and we are hoping to get input from the public about the aesthetics of the park, what they expect the park to be like. We want to put together the Maroon Society, the indigenous peoples, the Underground Railroad, but you never know when there's somebody out there in the public who may have something that you've never heard about. So that's what we're really looking for, is the overarching theme that's what's going to tie all these different stories together. And I think we might get some information or some input tonight that'll help us develop that theme as well.
And now we're just on a roll because a lot of people have taken interest in it, and so we've been raising money, and we've been fortunate that the General Assembly saw the need to donate $3 million. Recently, another $2 million, and the city kicked in another $600,000. And Congressman McKeachin was able to get the federal government to agree to give us another $3 million, which that will complete, once it gets in, the $9 million that Mike Barber thinks is going to be needed to do the whole historic village. And I am truly excited.
It was seemed sad, you know, coming down the road so slow, you know, and looking at it coming behind me, you know, in the car. Yeah, it was kind of sad. Yeah, you know, when it was leaving the old location, I always remember, you know, walking, you know, to get there. Yeah, yeah.
How far did you have to walk back then to get there?
About 8 miles.
My Lord.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a walk with cold feet and cold hands, and then getting to the school, no fire in the heater, nobody there. And I had to keep on walking a little bit further down to where some two other girls that went there. Their granddaddy came and made fire in the heater at the school. It was a number of, in each class, I guess about maybe 15 or 20 children, you know, in, you know, the class, you know, all combined, about 15 or 20.
Well, I enjoyed going. The only thing was the walk. I had a long walk, but I enjoyed school. Did you know where Highway 17 is? You see that house there? I walked from there to school.
That's a pretty long walk.
I walked from the Highway 17.
That's almost as far as we went today. That is as far as we went
that
today.
is. Yeah,
So
that's,
it's like
that's how far I walked.
we did your route.
Yeah. That was my route. It was 10 miles. Okay, well, I walked 20 miles a day. I went to it for so many years and then to see it move. But I'm glad it's moved, you know, because I know it has a new home and it will be taken care of.
Oh, it's always a release, such a joy once it goes from A to B and no problems, and it's just really, you actually can sleep the next night. Well, you have the telephone company, power company, tree companies, then you have the police, the city, and then all your engineering you got to do to get your weight right and get her from A to B.
Yeah, at this point it'll be put on temporary pylons, and right after that the contractor will come in and build the permanent pylons around it, reattach the roof and all on it with the original structure and wood. So we're excited about that. That'll take a couple more weeks for that to be done.
I love saving history. I think all history should be saved, and it's just because once you tear them down, people say tear them down and build a replica. Well, then you have nothing. You have a bunch of new built homes that's going to last about 30 years, where these old ones will last centuries if well taken care of.
Things that we always tell people is that flood insurance is an absolute necessity in Hampton Roads. You know, in our city, our highest elevation is in the Great Dismal Swamp. That is should be a sign to you, whether you're required to have flood insurance or not, that you should go out and buy flood insurance. If you're not required to have flood insurance by your mortgage company, you can get a really good rate on what they call a preferred rate policy in flood insurance. And you can get, $350,000 worth of coverage for about, $500, $600. It's a really good deal. So if you can buy flood insurance, we really, really highly recommend it for anybody in the city of Chesapeake. It can flood anywhere in our city at any time. And so if you do not have that protection, you're going to have some problems because it is, flood damage is not covered by your homeowner's insurance policy. Past weather is not a predictor of future weather. That's a common misconception that we have. Oh, it's never flooded here before. Everybody that ever floods has said those words. It has never flooded here before. I don't understand. It can flood anywhere in our city at any time, and we learned that in Matthew, where 80% plus of our flood losses were outside of the floodplain. So we really recommend getting flood insurance if you can.
Our local mosquitoes can transmit 2 different diseases that we monitor for. One is West Nile virus, and the other one is Eastern equine encephalitis. We call that one Triple E for short. So we're constantly testing these mosquitoes and monitoring, and if we do come up with a positive, we're going out to that area of the city and we're spraying. The crews will be deployed to see if there's any standing water around that needs to be treated, and of course the truck spraying at night too. We usually do a double whammy in those areas where we have positive, so it'll be 2 nights in a row of truck spraying. We're seeing resistance in our mosquito population because they're just being way bombarded with too much pesticide, so they're building up resistance. So we are actually doing resistance testing. We started it 3 years ago, so we're monitoring that. We're able to rotate our products to cut down on that and help with that, but there again, we don't know about the private companies and where they've been or haven't been, so that's becoming a little bit of an issue. If you have electrical outlet in your backyard and you have a deck or a patio and you're sitting outside, buy one of those shop fans and plug it up, because mosquitoes really aren't strong flyers and they can't fly against that fan. So if it's, if it's hot outside, you like a fan on you anyway. So I tell people to buy a fan. They're about $20 at your local big box store, and yeah, hook it up. It works great. You can try planting some of the citronella, but all that's doing is masking your scent. The more smelly things you have around you, it's going to be harder for that mosquito to smell us. So, and that's exactly how sprays work. Sprays that contain DEET, which is what I recommend. Read the label, apply it correctly and to your exposed skin, and DEET really does help to reduce the mosquito population. Some of the other, or mosquito populations could be biting you. Some of the other products that are deemed natural, they work a little bit, but they just don't work as long as products that contain DEET. So, but some of those things, yeah, fans definitely.